Welcome to Week 3 video session. Developed by Hamid Hack. This video recording is part of fulfillment of Week 3 individual project for class Enterprise Architecture Technology. The video recording discusses topics within enterprise architecture with the focus of Zachman framework. Did you know that enterprise architecture began for two main reasons? Reason 1 was to reduce complexity and 2, to align information technology initiatives with business goals. The founding father of information system architecture framework Zachman was an employee at IBM and had published his first article of information systems enterprise architecture framework in 1987. Zachman framework has pioneered how data, function, network, people, time and motivation get exercised in a business IT-enabled environment. His material elaborates on scope, enterprise model, system model, technical model, functional model and the framework assigning roles on responsibilities. There has been a continuation of Zachman work being updated on a normal basis. Hence, his work would be currently meeting the needs of business and IT. All this started with the concept continuous improvement initiatives to the enterprise framework. The imitation took place in 1987. Zachman based his framework on practices in traditional architecture and engineering. This resulted in an approach where a two-dimensional logical template is created to synthesize the framework. The purpose of the framework is to provide a basic structure that supports the organization, access, integration, interpretation, development, management, and set of architectural representations of the organization information systems. The purpose is to serve a holistic model from planning, owning, designing, building, subcontracting, and to working with systems. By definition, Zachman defines architecture as a set of design artifacts, or descriptive representation that is relevant for describing an object which can be produced to requirements and which can be maintained over time. Zachman framework intends to provide an understanding of any particular aspect of a system at any point in its development. Enterprise architecture tools can be useful in making decisions. The framework contains 36 cells, all within 6 rows and 6 columns. In enterprise architecture is known to have biasness processes, technologies, and information systems. Architecture is the fundamental organization of component and systems with having relationships with each other, the environment, and principles which are guiding the design and evolution. Architects are responsible for designing architecture and the creation of architectural description. As it was discussed about artifacts, architectural artifacts are essentially documents, analysis, models, reports, and anything which is tangible that contributes to architectural description. You may wonder what architectural description means. Well, it's a collection of artifacts which documents the architecture. The architectural framework, methodology, and processes have their own definitions. The architectural methodology is the generic term used, but the methodology is to help solve business problems. Architecture processes are actions which produce architectural description or architecture. Architecture framework is the skeleton which suggests or describes artifacts and how they relate to one another. One might ask, how many parts does an enterprise framework encompass? To answer that question, there are 4 parts to a framework. 1 is the business architecture, 2nd is information architecture, 3rd is application architecture, and 4th is technology architecture. In the enterprise architecture framework, business architecture encompasses business direction, stakeholders, information, and functions. Information architecture encompasses of data model, databases, and information flow. Application architecture encompasses of enterprise applications and application integration. Technology architecture encompasses of database systems, security technologies, network communication, application technology, operating systems, and server technology. Similar to other frameworks such as the Open Architectural Framework, Extended Enterprise Architecture, Department of Defense Architecture Framework, Federal Enterprise Architecture, Federal Enterprise Architecture Framework, Treasury Enterprise Architecture Framework, ISO Standards 14252 etc. Zachman Framework's purpose is to provide a basic structure which supports the organization, access, integration, interpretation, development, management, and transformation of a set of architectural representations of the organization information systems. Such objects or descriptions of architectural representations are usually referred to as artifacts. The Zachman framework is the most widely used framework today. In 1987, John Zachman wrote, "To keep the business from disintegrating, the concept of information systems architecture is becoming less of an option and more of a necessity." When the statement gets analyzed in the 21st century, 90% of enterprises have incorporated enterprise architecture as a strategy. The framework contains global plans as well as technical details, lists and charts as well as natural language statements. So, how can Zachman framework be used? Since Zachman framework provides a scope, enterprise model, system model, technology-constrained model, detailed representation, with elaboration of what, how, where, who, when, and why, this layout allows to fill in concepts when reviewing or revising the framework. Overall, comparing to other frameworks, Zachman's work is more of taxonomy while the Open Group Architectural Framework focuses on process, the Federal Enterprise Architecture focuses on methodology, and Gartner methodology focuses on enterprise architectural practice. The content used in this video session is influenced from the work of Daniel Manoli. This concludes the video session for Week 3 Individual Project for Enterprise Architecture Technology. This video was developed by Hamadak for Dr. Kapoor.